The fluorescent lights hummed weakly above the Upland, Pennsylvania abortion clinic that July morning in 2025, when what seemed like an ordinary day descended into chaos. A woman in a blue blouse stepped inside, pretending to be a patient, her voice shaking as she checked in. Behind her, more people entered, 6 in total quiet, focused, their eyes scanning every corner like soldiers on a silent mission. At first they looked like anyone else seeking care, but within minutes their true purpose unfolded. One woman reached into her bag and pulled out a small vial of holy water. Another scattered salt across the reception desk, and a man began murmuring prayers under his breath. When clinic staff told them to leave, they refused, blocking the hallway, forming a human barricade that turned fear into something tangible. Patients froze, unsure if they were witnessing a protest, a threat, or something worse. The activists had come with a cause. They believed they were saving lives, but to everyone inside, it felt like an invasion. Staff scrambled to lock interior doors and dial 911 as the intruders refused to move, sprinkling water on door handles, muttering scripture, and warning others that God's law is higher than man's. The waiting room filled with tension so thick it felt electric. Moments later, police sirens wailed outside, flashing lights painting the glass doors in red and blue. Officers entered cautiously, ordering everyone to stand down. The group did not resist arrest. Instead, they knelt and prayed as handcuffs clicked around their wrists. What shocked investigators wasn't just the defiance, but the identities of 2 arrestees. Both had been previously convicted under the FACE Act, Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, and were among the handful of activists pardoned by former President Donald Trump in 2025 for earlier clinic blockades. Their clemency had made headlines, celebrated by some as a victory for faith, condemned by others as a green light for extremism. Now, just months later, they stood accused again, this time under state law, facing charges of trespassing and criminal conspiracy. Federal prosecutors declined to invoke the FACE Act, citing limits on its use under the current Justice Department's Extraordinary Circumstances Guideline, but Pennsylvania's state prosecutors saw it differently. They weren't praying, one investigator told reporters. They were obstructing. Surveillance footage showed them locking arms near clinic entrances, blocking staff and patients, and chanting biblical verses as nurses pleaded with them to leave. The case quickly became a media flashpoint. To supporters, these activists were heroes standing up for unborn lives. To critics, they were repeat offenders exploiting religion to terrorize women. Inside the courthouse, lawyers prepared for a storm. Prosecutors argued that the groups coordinated deception, booking fake appointments, using false names, entering under false pretenses, proved intent to disrupt medical operations. Defense attorneys countered that their clients engaged in peaceful civil disobedience, a time-honored tradition of moral protests protected by the First Amendment. The real clash wasn't just legal, it was ideological, a collision between religious conviction and federal law, mercy and accountability. Outside, demonstrators from both sides gathered with signs and candles, their chants echoing down the courthouse steps. "Faith is not a crime," one group shouted, "freedom from fear," the other replied. Reporters dug deeper into the pasts of the 2 pardoned activists, revealing how they had once chained clinic doors shut, blocked entrances with furniture, and physically restrained patients during previous invasions. Their earlier sentences, spanning up to 11 years, had been wiped clean by a presidential pardon, just months before this new offense. Now, prosecutors whispered about whether that pardon had emboldened them to act again. "A pardon isn't permission," said one federal analyst, "and this time they can't hide behind it." Legal experts warned that the case could reshape the boundaries of protest law, especially as federal oversight of clinic protections waned. The FACE Act, passed in 1994 to protect reproductive health facilities, still stood on paper but had become a political lightning rod applied inconsistently depending on who held power in Washington. In the vacuum, state courts like Pennsylvania's were stepping in. "This is a stress test for our justice system," a constitutional scholar told CNN. "How do you balance freedom of belief with the right to safety and medical access?" As pre-trial hearings unfolded, witnesses described trembling in fear, believing the activists might become violent. Others spoke of being locked in rooms, of doors barricaded with chairs, of hearing prayers shouted through tears. The defense, meanwhile, leaned on religious liberty, quoting scripture and invoking the moral duty of resistance. The judge listened quietly, occasionally tapping a pen, aware that whatever decision came next would be dissected by both political extremes. As the trial loomed, America held its breath. Would the court see them as martyrs or criminals? Would the pardon that once freed them now seal their fate? Outside the courthouse, as evening fell, the shadows of protest signs stretched long across the pavement. In the fading light, it was hard to tell which side was winning the law or the conviction that defied it. And somewhere in that gray space between faith and fear, justice waited to speak.